And it is very sad, isn't it? This is the end of a very long history. The Jewish community in Yemen dates back thousands of years. Luckily, the Yemenites have managed to preserve their culture and traditions here in Israel.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the numbers estimate between 400 to 450,000 Yemenite Jews in Israel, and that cultural contribution, whether it's in music and food, can be felt everywhere in Israeli society. It could be that there are still some individual Jews in Yemen. It's hard to know because many of them, for good reason, are very afraid of what the Houthi regime might do to them. Because as you brought up in the beginning, we can't forget Levi Mahabi, a Jew who is still being held by the Houthis in horrible circumstances after dealing with terrible torture. And so it could be that there's still some individual Jews that are holding on and keeping that spark alive of thousands of years of Jewish history.
This is an unusual story about the disappearance of children and babies, investigated by Gamal al-Molaki of Al Jazeera's Arabic channel. It dates back to the early years of Israel and is about discrimination, division, and deception. Babies and young Jewish children from Yemen and a smaller number from other Arab countries and the Balkans disappeared under the eyes of the Israeli authorities over a 6-year period. They appear to have been taken from their families and given up for adoption.
The babies were taken in the middle of the night without parents' consent, when parents were not there.
And it's strongly suspected that in many cases, the children that ultimately disappeared were in fact given up for adoption in this way. This wasn't an accident. These weren't mistakes. This was a system.
Babies are a product, so it was a systemic business. You thought that they are saving Yemeni Jews from themselves.
Once the land of the Queen of Sheba is now inaccessible, forbidden. Even these air photographs were forbidden. Primitive fanatic land is ruled by a Muslim priest king called the Imam. It's virtually impossible to get into and out of Yemen. Amongst its few million impoverished Arabs, there lived an even poorer group, about 50,000 Jews, to be descended from the silversmiths sent by King Solomon across Arabia to the Queen of Sheba. To this day, the Jews of Yemen remain craftsmen, silversmiths, shoemakers, weavers. Living in hovels, forbidden to own land, they were paid in food. And in these last years of drought, there was very little food. Jews were pariahs. Muslims called them dogs, spat on them. And through the centuries, the Jews of Yemen clung to their Torah and their one hope, that Messiah would someday lead them back to their own land. Now, at last, their elders spoke the word.
Hear me, children of Yemen. I've been to the village of Rada, and from the street of the Jews, all of our brethren are gone. The Arabs say that the Jews have gone to Aden to meet our Messiah. We also must set forth. From Aden, the Messiah will take us to Israel. It is better to suffer on the way than to remain and die of starvation and sickness. For it stands written in the Torah that we must go forth to meet the Messiah. As it is written, so it must be. Only 14 days from here, have courage, and in Aden we will be taken up on the wings of a great bird, and we will all be carried to Israel. It is written that we shall return on the wings of a great eagle. We have many days to walk, and our provisions are not enough. Some may perish on the way, but do not doubt me. Do not turn back. Can we bring our children into a world where a Jew may not pass on the right side of a Muslim? In our own land we will walk as equals. There each man may be his own master. Each man will have a right to labor his own field or to labor in the city. And every child will be taught to read in books and to write with his own hand. Our sores will be healed, and we will eat good things twice and even 3 times every day. There will be work for every hand, and we will have shoes on our feet. There will be no more Muslims over us. In Israel, a Jew may say his prayers out loud, and no Muslim will throw stones. All this is true. In Israel there are olive trees, figs, and golden orange fruits, and cities where even the authorities are Jews. Do not doubt me. Only a little further, and we will be lifted up and carried. Do not fear the evil bird, for the soul of our brother has flown ahead. His soul has already become part of the universal soul. He has gone before us to welcome us to our land. Do not turn back now. It would be a sin against those who have died on the way. It is not far to Aden. Only a few steps more, my children. You see, as your old rabbi has spoken, a machine has come to carry us, exactly as it is written. We are moving swiftly out of the strange land. No. This is not yet Eretz Israel, my children. This is Aden. Here also our people have suffered at the hands of the ignorant. They have destroyed our holy places, but do not lose faith. From Aden we may depart. This is our encampment. These are our tabernacles. You see, I have not promised you falsely. We have come indeed to a resting place that was made ready for us. This was done by our brothers from far away. Here we will remain for 7 days or 100 days. It does not matter, for who will doubt our Torah now? And these are our people. They are tall and strong, for they have lived in freedom. They are Yehudim from Israel, the land of our father, King Solomon. They have come to help us. See, we have brought with us our ancient holy Torah, for wherever we go, we shall live by the word of the law. Everything is here as it was promised. Water and food to refresh us from our journey. It is said that there are Yehudim who, like us, were dispersed in many lands, and those who fared better have sent all this to us. Our brothers from Israel clothe us who are in rags and naked. They strengthen us against diseases. Do not fear the mark that they put upon you, for it is a protection against evil, like the sign put upon the houses of the children of Israel in their flight from Egypt. This will shield us from the angel of death and pestilence. These are our brothers, emissaries from Israel. They tend the sick. They look into the sores of our eyes and make them well, so that we may behold Israel. This also is our brother from a land across the sea, America. From this far place our brothers send help to us that we may return to Israel. Our time of waiting is nearly ended. On these papers our names are written for the great journey. A day will come, and we will be lifted on great wings and carried in a single night to Israel. Behold, even as it is written, on the wings of a great, strange bird. Children of Yemen, hear me. As it stands written, so the day has come. Dance as King David danced when he beheld the tabernacle of the Torah. Sing our ancient songs, the songs of Solomon, that we have kept sacred and have not forgotten in these thousands of years in our exile in the far land of Yemen. as it was written, as it was promised. As we have come on foot through the sands to see this wonder, so it has been given to us. The great leader waits. He will carry us. Who but the Messiah has sent him? And this night he will carry us to Israel. Believe it. He will rise from the ground. He will be carried high in the air and set down safely in Israel. Even the old and the sick and those who cannot walk, and the children and the small infants. All those who are waiting shall follow in their turn. Believe it, for all that has been foretold has now come to pass.
When Israel was founded in 1948, it encouraged Jews to immigrate there from around the world, including Yemen. Operation Magic Carpet relocated nearly 50,000 Jews from Yemen to the new state of Israel in just over a year. This followed the expulsion of over 750,000 Palestinians, forcibly displaced in the Nakba in 1948. But Operation Magic Carpet held a dark secret that has still only partially been revealed, involving at least 2,000 children, what are called Yemenite babies. Yemenite refers to Jews of Yemeni heritage, and all these children disappeared after their arrival in Israel from Yemen. What happened to these children? Was this state-sanctioned child trafficking? And where are these grown men and women now?
Now, one of the last of a handful of Jews surviving in Yemen has died. Yahya ben Yosef was thought to be over 100 years old. He lived north of the city of Sana'a and was buried by his Muslim neighbours. Once a thriving community dating back thousands of years, the Jewish community in Yemen has all but disappeared. Another Jewish man in Yemen, Levi Marhabi, was captured by the Houthis and tortured. Well, joining me now, Yirmiyahu Danzig is an Israeli activist and digital educator. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. And Yahya ben Yosef refused to follow the tens of thousands of other Yemenite Jews who came to Israel in the 1940s. It must have been something of a lonely existence for him.
Certainly that was the case. And, I think that many of us take for granted that period in history in which the entire communities throughout the Middle East, North Africa, Jewish communities were basically completely wiped off of the map. And it was not just because these Jewish communities, like Jewish communities all over the world, were longing and waiting for the opportunity to go to Zion. It's mostly because they were ethnically cleansed, expelled, pressured to leave their homes and to lose all of their possessions. And so, many of us, people living in diaspora Jewish communities throughout the world, think about how complicated it is to leave your home, your house, the people that you know, the customs that you're used to. And so Mori, or Rabbi Yahya, was one such Jew that refused to leave his home, though there are some reports, rumors that he was trying to moved to Israel, but because of bureaucratic issues, he was unable to, and he passed away in what we believe was close to or even past the age of 100.
These men running across the sands to greet the plane are refugees. In 1947 and 48, 5,000 Jews escaping terror and slavery in the backward Arab state of Yemen fled to Aden. They risked their way across barren mountains, forbidden borders and desert sands. Most came on foot, and lucky were the old ones with a donkey to ride. They left without possessions and they arrived in rags. They came because they had heard in Aden Jews could find help. This is the moment of deliverance. Imagine it as if you were one who had fled. Conceive it as one for whom the world of machines ends with a spinning wheel 50 centuries old. And now out of the sky comes a thing such as you have never seen in your life, a great machine that flies. Yet you know in a way what it is, for the words of the Lord are there to read in the Holy Writ. Tell the children of Israel, how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now you step up, and with each step you pass from the dark ages to the present century, from bondage to freedom.
After the establishment in 1948, and from the end of 48 to 49, the state airlifted 50,000 Yemeni Jews from Yemen, and they were situated, when they got to Israel, in different absorption camps. It's called ma'barot in Hebrew. So different places around the country where they were brought to. And because they told the people that arrived that because they were housed in tin houses and tents, that the babies would be better off if they went to the baby house, which was built out of stone, that it would be safer for them, and that the parents can come and nurse their babies 3 times a day.
Dr. Tom Pessa is an Israeli sociologist and activist. He too has campaigned on behalf of the Yemenite children who went missing in the late 1940s and 50s.
נאמר להם שהילד, באופן הדפוס הכי נפוץ, נאמר להם שהילד נפטר, ילד או ילדה נפטרו, בדרך כלל מדובר בילדים צעירים, נמסר להם שהילדים נפטרו, לא ראו גופה, לא נמסרה תעודת פטירה, ויש סימנים שונים שמעידים שהילדים האלה לא נפטרו. זאת אומרת, למשל, במיעוט מהמקרים ההורים השתוללו ואיימו על הצוות והפגינו קצת לחץ, ובעקבות הלחץ שלהם פתאום הילדים המתים פתאום חזרו לחיים והושבו אליהם, כשהם לבושים בבגדים מאוד יפים. זאת אומרת, זה היה נראה כאילו שהכינו אותם למסירה למישהו אחר.
In most common scenarios, the babies were taken in the middle of the night without parents' consent, when parents were not there, and the next day they were told that they got sick and they were taken to a hospital, and then from there, essentially, they were never brought back. So they would be told that they died, and then most cases, the parents didn't see a death certificate or a grave, didn't get to mourn their babies.